Thing is, I want you to focus. Some of the younger ones, it's going, it's like, I mean, I'm a male, I'm 50 years old. I enjoy that. It's like, wow. It's like all these emotions and all these feelings that sort of go through me when I think of, love. And maybe it's Valentine's Day you're thinking of. You know that one day in the year when men are actually romantic or try to be romantic. And maybe you're thinking of Valentine's Day that's in 14 days. Or maybe what you're thinking of is that Valentine's verse in the Bible in 1 Corinthians 13. And see, basically in the first sort of 3 verses of 1 Corinthians 13 sort of introduces this Valentine's verse in the Bible to us. And basically what it's saying is, you can do all these amazing things, all these incredible things, but if you don't have love, then you've gained nothing. And we're almost thinking, what is he talking about? Because that song Perfect, that doesn't look like this intense. It's like, I like her, she might like me, and if she doesn't like me, I move on to the next person, and I like her, and maybe she likes me. It's like, it's frivolous. It's just so straightforward. What's this hectic thing? If it doesn't matter if you have all these things, but you don't have love, you have gained nothing. And then it continues in verse 1. Look at verse 4. It goes like this. Verse 4 goes like this. And before I go there, this is the topic of my message this morning. Vision for 2019. It's very easy. You're going to remember it. It's very easy. Love one another. That's what Gospel Central Church is about. This is what we're going to be about in 2019. We're going to learn how to love one another deeper than ever before. Simple. I'm not going to put charts up. I'm not going to give you an income statement. I'm not going to tell you that, we're going to take the world and there are going to be 55 churches. I'm going to speak a little bit about it, but basically, it's about that we will learn as a church how to love one another. And if you listen to that song, Perfect, you think that can't be too difficult. I just have to smile at you, and you'll smile at me. I'll be nice to you, and you'll be nice to me. And we'll learn how to say love you to somebody else. Maybe we'll learn to say it even in French, because that is even nicer. We'll say it in French and Portuguese and maybe in Japanese. And we'll say this, and we'll learn how to say it in a way that doesn't make us feel awkward or uncomfortable. So let's continue with our Valentine's verse in 1 Corinthians 13. And it says from verse 4, it says the following. It says, love is patient and kind. So what it's saying, love is patient, which is an internal posture, and kind, an external posture. So if love is patient, which means if love is present, if love is real, then I will be patient. It's an internal, it's this way. And love is kind, this way. And then it continues, it says, love is not jealous. Sorry, let me go back. This is how I should read it. Love is not jealous or boastful, because that's how we read it at weddings. Love is boastful. Let's start again. Sorry, I got it all wrong. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful, or proud or rude. And by that time, the boy and the girl are smiling at each other. It does not demand its own way. It is not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wrong. And then it does not rejoice about justice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up. It never loses faith. And that's when he goes and never loses faith. It's always hopeful, and it endures through every circumstance. And everybody lives happily ever after. And then there's tears in the eyes, because of course these two dear couple, these two individuals are going to obviously keep this. They're going to always remember it. They have been so focused on that verse, and that's just going to be what it's like. And see, when we look at 1 Corinthians 13, and when we look at John 3:16, for God so loved the world, it's our favorite verses. It's been proven, the favorite verses in the world. And maybe our close number 3 is the Lord is my shepherd. It's all verses. Those verses are about me. And see those verses, if we look at 1 Corinthians 13, it's like our favorite love song. That's how we see it. And see, while we're on the topic of me, and the love song and how it makes me feel. Who loves mirrors? Who loves mirrors? Boys, you're allowed to put up your hand. Because I know boys don't like mirrors, but when you walk through the reflection in the window, you go, oh yeah, and I still have it. I still have it. Come on, boys. You can't be too obvious. Come, who loves mirrors? Put up your hand. Come, boys, who loves mirrors? There's some of you here that loves a mirror more than your girls, your ladies. Come, who likes a mirror? Come on. Hypocrites. Who loves mirrors? Who goes past the mirror more than once in the morning? Who go past the reflection and go, lots of practice. I'll be lying if I say I haven't walked past certain reflection and say, yeah, this looks okay. Who loves being a mirror? Who loves being a mirror? Who loves being a mirror that you're willing to hold up and say, you know, Justin, just there on the left-hand side, there's a little snorly sitting there. Andy, zips open butt. Or maybe, this is like, I can see Andy's like, or maybe you want to be a mirror and you look and say, but here, there's a little leftover of last night, just sitting here. Maybe you should just take it out. Who's willing, who likes being a mirror? Who loves being a mirror and going to our brother, going to somebody and say to him, can I share something with you? I don't want to be nice to you. I want to love you. Can I tell you something? Can I share with you something that I think is very unhelpful and how you approach that situation? I saw the other day where you spoke to your wife, and would you mind if I say something? Who loves doing that? Who loves being on the other side of receiving that? I want us to look a little bit closer at verse 4 to verse 7. I'm going to put it up again if you don't mind. And see, the word love used in this passage, we think it's the word phileo, which means friendship, which means just buddies, you know, I like you, you like me, sort of very surface level friendship. And it's important that we're friends and we surface and sort of friendly with one another. It's important. But actually that word love, the word that is written when this letter is written, it was originally written in Greek by a guy by the name of Paul, that wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. And when he wrote it, the word he used there is not the word phileo, which will mean this sort of friendship, sort of perfect by Ed Sheeran type of love. Maybe even less than that, but sort of that kind of love. The word he uses there is an ancient Hebrew word, which many of us heard before, the word agape. Now, it's a word we think we understand, but it's a word that we understand here, but it's a word that is so crazy in its meaning, because this word and its origin and its meaning and its core and its root has got the meaning of it being a divine love, a God kind of love. And then on top of it has got this meaning of unconditional love, of expecting nothing back. Phew. It's like, yeah, man, I can do that. Hypocrite. It's not that easy. If we really understand the word agape, I'm like, no, it's crazy. I can't do that. Unconditional? And see, what you were doing this morning, in a way, when you said to somebody, I love you, it's like it's awkward. It's like they don't even know me. See, that love that you're expressing to somebody should have been coming from a heart of saying, it doesn't matter if they smile, it doesn't matter if they feel awkward, it doesn't matter if they're never going to tell me they love me. It's not conditioned on them doing something for me, because they did nothing for you. Most of them that you would have turned to this morning would have done nothing to you, for you. They would have had no reason for you probably to say to them you love them. They have just not, there's no benefit in it, but you said it. So imagine that agape could be that's really coming from your heart, where you're saying it and you know it's not going to be reciprocal. It's not going to come back to you. You're not going to benefit from them. That's sort of what that word means. That is what the word agape means. And see, here Paul is writing to these guys. He's writing to this church, and this church is in Corinth. And it was like the cool city of the day in Turkey, and it was in the known world. And this church was like the Vogue church, it was sort of the cool church, popular. And in the middle of the city was this church. And this church was taking on sort of the flavor of the city. And this church became quite divisive, and there was guys sleeping with their mothers-in-law, and there was sexual immorality, and it even turned to their church. Their church meetings were quite messy and chaotic, and it did not speak of God's love. And in the midst of all of this, Paul is coming in this letter. The intention of this portion is actually not to say, oh man, it's Sharon, he's thinking of you. No, it's actually a little rebuke. It's a little rebuke. See, Paul is holding a mirror before them. He's holding a mirror to this church that is filled with divisions and filled with sexual immorality and all sorts of stuff. And he's holding it before them as a mirror. And he's presenting this list to them. He's presenting this mirror to them to show them how they really live, what they are really like. And in the context of that, listen to it again. Love is patient. Are you patient? That's Paul saying. Are you patient? Are you patient? Love is kind. Love is patient and kind. Are you kind to everybody? Because that's not talking about some people that like and some people that look like you and sound like you. Are you kind? Are you kind to that one that is culturally so removed from you that you don't understand how they wired and how they do things? To you, and then it continues and it says, love is not jealous. Are you jealous of other people's success? Are you jealous of somebody else being recognized in maybe in this context and you never recognized? You sort of always overlooked. That's what he's saying. Are you boastful? And we hide behind, I just want to quickly testify. It's like there's testimonies and then there's boasting. And testimonies often becomes I'm the hero at the end of the story. But Jesus is supposed to be, is Jesus the hero of your story? It's a testimony. If you're the hero of your story because you prayed so much, and Jesus came through when you prayed so much, boasting, probably. Are you boastful? Are you proud? Oh, no, I hate that verse. I can't, well, hate the verse. I don't like that verse in the Bible that says God resists the proud. It's a freak. That verse freaks me out. God resists the proud. And then it continues and it says, don't be proud and don't be rude. Yeah, but Mani, you must understand. Don't be rude. It does not demand its own way. Do you demand your own way? Paul is saying, are you demanding on you? Do you want what you want? When you want it? How you want it? In as much as you want it? In the quantity that you want it? That's what Paul is saying here. It's not irritable. I know you're an advanced Christian. You don't get angry. You don't get vicious. You don't get out of control. You just get irritable. Because that's not as bad as anger. That's what I see there. Irritable. Do you get irritable? Because things are not going your way and you're not king. Your kingdom is not coming. Do you get irritable? That's what he's saying. And it keeps no record of the wrong. Maybe you're sitting here, you've not forgiven somebody, and you think you have the right not to forgive. Forgiveness takes one person, restoring relationship takes two, but forgiveness takes one person. All you have to do is say, I forgive so and so. That's what Paul is giving us this list. He's holding this mirror before us. And at some stage, I would imagine as they were reading this letter from Paul to this church, they felt convicted in their hearts. And see, what is mentioned here in 1 Corinthians 13 is that addresses the single most impacting factor that I believe in any Christian community. And it's this thing called love. And it's something that we don't understand because I think we confuse it with shallowness. We confuse it with being kind and nice. No, I can't go and speak to so-and-so because I'm a nice person. God's called you to be loving, not nice. And when I read this list, I feel deflated. I feel like, I can't do that. Patience, I'm going to stop there. It's like, I don't have to go to not kind. Let's stop at patience. Okay, rest of the verse. Patience. Be kind to somebody. I find it very easy to be kind when Lindsay and I were away, and it was just us two together. It was peanuts. To be kind, mostly we were sort of in our wherever we were staying, and we were studying, so it's easy to be kind. But then I interacted with people, and it started becoming difficult to be. Suddenly I couldn't be so kind anymore. Don't know about you. What about you? How do you feel when you see that list? You're like, oh, I thought this is a place that would make me happy. I come here on a Sunday to be happy, to be lifted up. So I feel like, yes, it's almost like a motivation. How do you feel? Maybe you sit there and you're saying, I can give you examples of how I loved sacrificially. But he's like, I can love like that, Marnie. Maybe you're sitting here and you're saying, I'm going to psych myself up. I want to love more. I want to love more. I'm going to try harder to love more. Gordon, I love you. Or you're going to close your eyes and just hope for the best and say, just love. It's like some of the Hindus. Oh, and it's like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just more love, and we're going to maybe burn an incense or two, and it's going to smell, it's going to come, and it's going to be love. And maybe we're going to take some cannabis, and maybe that'll help us to love a bit more. Because now in South Africa, it's legal. So we're going to grow a little I love everybody plant. Amen, Marnie, you must check it. Every night, I just love everything around me. I love the plants. I hug my dog. I hug the doors. That's how much I love. Maybe that's how we're going to approach this. Maybe you preach every Sunday and you know that as soon as you arrive here, you need to be more patient. You smile more than you've ever smiled before. Yeah, you know this. Everybody smiles here. I need to smile. You know, I'm patient. This is Mr. Patience. I'm so kind. I want to tell you, why did you not put that verse up? But, hello, don't you just put that verse up? Meantime, he's like, why didn't you put that verse up? We find excuses. Yeah, but Marnie, if you know how they behave, you won't be patient. You won't be kind. You don't know what I'm going through. That's the typical one. And see, we need to acknowledge this morning that we are so far from this list. Very far from list. If this understanding of phileo love is the kind you and I know, it's conditional love. This thing of, I give you something, you give me something. And see, many of us listen to so many love songs. We watch so many lovey-dovey movies, more than we read our Bible. And no wonder we have a skew idea of what is love all about. Movies sell you these things, and I find that as I study the Word actually more than I watch movies, and I study the words more than I actually listen to love songs, I find that I can watch a movie and I go, no, please. And you can see that's fake love. You see, it's rubbish. What she's just said, you make me complete. So unbiblical. Rubbish. Oh, my soulmate. Rubbish. There's no flippant soulmate anywhere. I'm just looking for the perfect woman to marry. There is no such one. Oh, by the way, I know the men are laughing. You either. Girls, have you waiting for your perfect guy? He's not around. At best, you're marrying what you potentially think he could be. That's what you marry. But no, we've got this skew idea. And I believe we need to go much deeper than that as a church. In 2019, no, and I can't motivate you to do that. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm just presenting the truth to you, and I'm saying, we're going to talk about how we go about this. I can say, we're going to love more. Because you know that our purpose statement is love God, love people, serve the world. And it's so easy to say it. 1, 2, 3. Love God, love people, serve the world. I can say it fast because I was there from the beginning, so it's quick to say it. And then some of you and some of us would say, no, Marnie, you know what? I can love God, but I just struggle to love people. I just want to show you now the scripture that is impossible. You are confused if you think you can love God and you don't love people. Called to love people. That word love comes from verses. Love God, love people, serve the world. Wasn't a cute branding book we read. It's scripture. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and so on. That love is the word agape again. The truth is, these Corinthians churches not even doing good, not doing even well at the basic love, or phileo love. They even struggle with that. You see, let's see what Romans 7 verse 19 says this, and I think this, Romans 7 verse 19, this verse describes us so well. It says, I want to do what is good, but I don't. And I don't want to do what is wrong, but I do it anyway. Doesn't it sound like you? It definitely sounds like me. Who's got good intentions? Yeah. And then what you do is you judge other people on their actions and yourself on your own intentions. Because you meant well. It's coming from a good place. Which good place? It's coming from a good heart. Good heart? Never met somebody with a good heart. I would love to. I'm not talking about a physical heart. I want to meet somebody with a naturally good heart. Please come afterwards. I want to meet you. If we're honest, this is our state. If we're honest, this is our condition, the human nature. What we say we are going to do, we struggle to do. It's tough to follow through. It's like New Year's resolutions. We make 100. We're fortunate by the end of February if we're still keeping one. And see, what is the actual proposal in 1 Corinthians? What is Paul trying to say? What is the point Paul is trying to make in 1 Corinthians 13? And especially, we're focusing on verse 4 to 7. What is he trying to say? He's saying we should be living agape lives. Oh, I knew you knew that. But how? It's like, this is what I'm supposed to say. How do we do that? It's incredible. It's like Superman. We see he flies in the air and he's having a fight. I watched a thing yesterday, and he's fighting with Hulk. It's like in the air, whoo, and they have a big fight. You think, it's crazy. That is impossible. It's not. You can try as much as you want to. People have tried to fly before. They're not with us anymore. But see, should we try harder? Paul is saying he's calling us to be agape love. Is it trying harder? Because if it's trying harder, then we don't need Jesus actually, because then it's goal setting and it's motivation and it's passion. That's what we're looking for. And see, reading this passage should make us realize, this is the point. I need a Savior. I need somebody to rescue me from that condition. I need Him, and only when I have Him, and only when He works in and through me, will I be in any way possible be able to even remotely love like He's calling me to love. And see, what I've realized is, the longer I lead a church, I've never been in the beginning as what is the word? As bold as speaking about the importance of the local church. And if you know me through the whole 10 years that we've led this church, you will hear that I'm actually more bold and more courageous in saying the local church is the hope of the world. The Bible said that years ago. And that's why I believe in you, the importance of you and me establishing, getting ourselves into a local church. That's why I see it's important for you and I to be in a community group, to be in community more than just this. Why? Because I know that I need to engage myself with others that are diverse from me, that are different from me, because that's the only way I'm going to grow in my love. And I know that if I have it my way, I would want to sit in a community group with people that are like me, that think like me, that do the same job as me, that are at the same stage of their life and they walk with God with me, because that's easier. But I choose to say, I celebrate this. Because some of us are sitting here not born again, do not know Jesus. Some of us are sitting here, one foot in the world and one foot in the church, if that's even possible. Some of us are sitting here not committed to the gathering of believers. You come now and again. Some of us are sitting here, can we not have 20 meetings a week? I will be there. It's a motley crew. All of us are so different in our walk. We're different stages of our walk. Some of us are confused about the faith. Some of us are not committed. Some are committed. And I'm saying, I celebrate that diversity. I want to be among you. I love it when I come here and we're all in our different places, because I know each one of you plays a role in me becoming more like Christ. And as I become more like Christ, as I become more transformed, I will learn how to love agape love more, unconditionally, not based on how you behave when you come here, not based on if you're late early, if you get annoyed with me, if you say something to me that are not true, if you accuse me of things that's not true. It's not based on that. I want to intentionally place myself in these places. I'm not trying to look for this wonderful, clean sort of, what's the word I'm looking, sort of can't find the English word now. These very clean, narrow, everybody is the same, stand in row kind of environment. I'm not looking for that. I don't want that. I want this. I want church. Matthew 22 verse 37 says, Jesus replied, you must love the Lord, agape the Lord your God, with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind. A second is equal important. Agape your neighbor as yourself. And see what Paul is saying, Paul is just like Jesus. What he's saying, I want you to know I want to bring you to the end of yourself, where you know you can't do it. You can't do it without God. That's the way it should be. You shouldn't be able to love without God. You cannot do it unless you are transformed. So God, you might be asking me, so why does God require us to love? Why is all of our life, or a big part of what God wants from us, defined by how we love, if it's so impossible to do it? I want to say, that's what agape is. Let's look at what John says in 1 John 4 verse 7. It says this, it says, dear friends, let us continue to love one another, for love comes from God. Anyone who loves is a child of God and knows God. But anyone who does not love does not know God, for God is love. God showed how much He loved us by sending His one and only Son into the world so that we might have eternal life through Him. This is real love. Not that we loved God. Hear this. Woo, it's beautiful. But that He loved us and sent His Son as a sacrifice to take away our sins. Verse 11, dear friends, since God loved us that much, we surely ought to love each other. Verse 12, no one has ever seen God, but if we love each other, God lives in us and His life is brought to full expression in us. This is why John 3:16 goes for many of us. For the world so loved God, therefore He gave His Son. For God, so we said, God, please, we love You so much. We love You, Jesus. We are Gospel Central Church. Our purpose is even love God, love people, serve the world. Surely You should send Your Son. And He walks around, He's very busy, and He thinks, he's got quite lots of things to do here, houses to build, for when you one day come. It's like, okay, I'll come, because You love me so much. I'll come. That's not what John 3:16 is saying. For God so loved the world, not because of your love, but because of His love. It starts with Him. God there loves us. You cannot get agape unless you get God. So here's a simple thing, how this works out in your life. You ain't spending time with God. You're not building a relationship with Him. You're not being devoted to Him. You don't read His Word. You ain't going to be, it's not possible to love God. What you love, if you don't do that, is an idea. It's a few thoughts that you hear from Facebook, or Instagram, or Snapchat, or wherever. And see, people will see God not because of your info, not because of your discipline, not because of your lifestyle, your ethics, or your politics, but by the way we love one another. He will see, people will change and be transformed by your agape. And as they see your agape, they say, how's this possible? Gospel Central Church, I experience the love of God. What's this? It's like, and trying to just make a silly God, it's like, it's God in our midst. What builds a church? Yeah, a bit of intentionality and a bit of partnering with God. But main deal, the presence of God. That grows a church. Where God is, that grows a church. That's attractive. People come to Gospel Center and they love it. You know what they love? I just want to have good news to you. It's not primarily you. They love the presence of God. They love what I see. They're sensing God because they see how you love one another. They see how you care. They see how you're welcoming. There's people that have joined Gospel Central Church State Lodge. Incredible couple from Uganda. Why did they join? Told me straight. Because you guys are so welcoming. So friendly. And we settled just because they haven't even heard the preaching yet. Thank the Lord. Because we love. We care so much. I mean, I'm not trying to say perfect love, because that went. And my point this morning as I land, as I came to the end, our vision for 2019, love one another. Even if it costs, and this is the call, even if it costs you your freedom and your preferences. Because, I love people on a Saturday and a Sunday when I'm not busy. I love people. I love them on a Sunday morning because I just don't have enough time the rest of the day. I love people. I love people. I love them when I'm not tired. I love them when I don't have to take my kids to swimming or rugby or cricket. And I have time for people when I don't have to do the chores in the morning, and when they come at 6 and they make sure they leave at 7. I love people. I love them. No, I love people. I love people on a Sunday, once a month, when I decide to go. Now, it's like a busy life. Can't get there. I've got a few things to go. And see, I want to say to you very lovingly, this is not about ticking a box. I've never found anyone and say, hey, I've seen you've gone under the 3 out of 10, 3 out of 4 Sunday. But this is what I know. Sorry, I want to say it with a smile on my face. You're selfish if you don't regularly meet with other believers. You're selfish. Because you take away the opportunity for others to love you. And you take away the opportunity for others to be loved by you. And I don't know, there is a church in America that's now brought out that app, and they call it church. And I'm not going to tell you which one because I'm not talking about other churches. It's a church app. And the guy says in the intro, I'm not going to tell you what it is. Intro, he says, man, now this is church. When you want it, how you want it. Just connect. That's not love. That's technology. So, I have to say, I want to present to you, hold the mirror up, that we're selfish is when we don't want to gather with others. It's not actually about you. You see, unfortunately, in meetings like this, is where people have come to me and said to me, hey, Mani, you don't do that. Mani, you've done this, don't do that. So, yeah, I wish I don't have to always come, then I can skip those things. But I want it because I know it's good for me. And John 13 verse 35 says, your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. That's what John 13 says. It's actually in the Bible. And see, what's the implications for us? If we say we love God and we love people. And I know some of you would sit here and say, yes, he's clever. Huh? He's like maneuvering us into a corner, and now he's just into church attendance. No, I'm not. But I'm clever. Joking. Joking. Never said that from a pulpit. It's not about me. I hope you know this. It's not about one person. It's about us giving ourselves an opportunity to love one another. Community group. It's not another tick you get if it's like, I go to church regularly on Sunday, I celebrate. I go to community group. Woohoo! I get 5 out of 10 in the Gospel Central Church. No, it's not about activity. It's about posture. It's about posture. The implications for us. Posture for 2019. Loving one another. It's 2 things. Just 2 things. What should change? 2019, and Pubuzia, if you can put it up. Number 1, intentional community. That will be intentional about engaging community. And now I'll be also very specific. Not any community group. Gospel Central Church community group. I've had a friend that I always say to him, buddy, I've never heard of a guy. It's like I have my daughters. My one daughter's in Cape Town, other was in America. So what I'm going to do is, if I miss them, I'm going to spend time with the Meekles, and then I won't miss my daughters. That's how I solve that problem. I love their 2 daughters. They're great, like my 2 daughters, but they're not my daughters. They are. I love them to bits. They're 2 daughters. But they're not my daughters. I still miss Robin and Ashley. I still need to see Robin and Ashley. I need to spend time with them. And now that they've become adults, they're part of my sanctification partnerships. They now tune me as well. It used to be only my wife. Now it's my 2 kids as well. And that is right, by the way. The day you don't want to listen to your kids when they speak the truth to you, you've got problems. Because, man, they can speak the truth. The implications, intentional community. Will we desire community? Will we intentionally run towards opportunities to be community so that we can sort of learn and engage one another on a deep, deep level so that we can learn to be more like Christ? Western society, civilization is quite the opposite. Because you get these two sort of poles in the world. General. Communal focus, or destitution and affluence. What does mean is people that have historically struggled and have had challenges, they've learned quickly that the only way I survive when I've limited resources, the only way I survive when I have pain and suffering and stuff are happening in my life, the only way, nothing to do with Christianity, just anthropology, sociology, straightforward. We need to group together. We need to be communal. We need to be in each other's space because it's the only way we're going to survive. People of affluence, what they've learned is, historically, I've got options because I've got money. I don't need people. I don't need people to help me to move to another house. I pay somebody to go to another house. I don't have to spend time with people because I can manage without you because I have the resources. That's biblical. Some of our Western-minded people need to rethink how they approach life. Intentional about being community. Second one, and it's sort of and for me, an overflow from point one. We're going to learn to love one another. We're going to learn in 2019 to care for one another. We're going to love one another so much that we want to say, well, we want what we have. And we want to share it with the world. Because what can happen if we overdo this, love one another, we become insular. We become incestuous. We become inward looking. It's like, oh, we love one another. I love the feeling in here when we're together. But what I've learned is we're not called to be the Dead Sea. We're called to be the Jordan. We're not called to be a place where it ends. We need to be as like a river. We are blessed to be a blessing. We are loved, and we do love one another so that we can pour this out into the world. So hence, a natural outflow of us growing in our love for one another is so that we will learn how to plant new communities. That we will be intentional and passionate about starting new church communities like community groups, or be in it, or help, or facilitate to start new ones, and not be default as I'm staying here because they love me so much. No, I'm going to go and I'm going to put myself in an uncomfortable situation so that I can take this to others. Or church planting, that Gospel Central Church will be intentional because of what God's given us so much. This venue, wow. God's given us this venue. And because of that, venue is not so that we can all be comfortable. It's so that this can be a mission station. So that we can go. This should be a place where it's a mission station where we are equipped for works of ministry. We are equipped to go. We are equipped to partner and go and plant more churches. So that more people can come to know God. So that more people can learn how to love one another. That's the passion. So 2019, simple. Love one another. Worked out in which way? That we will truly become agape communities. Which will lead to us focusing on church planting and maybe looking past our comforts. Maybe some of you sitting here and you need to be part of a church plant. We're looking at different areas in this country. We're even looking beyond this country. And in 2 weeks, many of you know that Lindsay and I am off to Hull, and we're planting a church in the UK. And that's wonderful. And that's where you should not look so serious and say, woo! That's you should go. That's the part where you don't have to look as serious as you look now. And then we look at Kitwe. There's a potential in Kitwe. And now it seems like Choma, and Livingston. Say, woo! Like American TV, 1, 2, 3, yay! And by the way, and that's because it fits here, it's going to cost us well. Because, no, man, it was a nice message so far. You see this thing? I don't know where you put your wallet. It's not my bum. It's a wallet. It's not my bum. It affects this. Because money is a representation of your value system. And God's called us to be generous people. Beyond what you think is just going to be safe for me. You know, at least if I don't give, I'll give so much. But if I give more, I won't be able to have enough until I turn 110. and then give $10 million to my kids, which can also go to 110, and then so we on. But actually, I'm going to be generous, proportionately to what God's given me. And your 20 kwacha, your 50 kwacha, your 100 kwacha, your 1,000 kwacha, whatever, is the same. If it's proportionately given generously, so that we can plant more churches, because we can't plant them in a vacuum. And soon we will have another guy joining us that we've been in discussions, and he's starting on the 1st of March. A guy that's been trained. He's a friend of Justin. He's trained as a pastor. He's joining us. Why is he joining us? He's joining us because we just want to have big staff. No, he's joining us because we want to plant another congregation. And there's another guy that's probably joining us 1 April. And by the way, can I just be freaked the accountants out? It's not part of our budget. We're doing it because we heard God, and it's not in the budget. Just accountants, I don't know how they figured it out. We've done this 10 years. It doesn't make sense. Church doesn't make sense. If you want to come and look at our books, we do it properly. Kate McIntosh is our accountant, thinks we're crazy. Because it doesn't make sense, but it works. It works because if God calls, God will supply. So let's 2019 be a year where we intentionally would love one another with agape love. And may that love overflow to the regions, to the rest of the city, and the regions beyond. And let our value system, let our value system reflect that.